Okay, we're back out here live at this CPAC booth here, and with the one and only CEO of Mike Pillow and the patriot of the world as far as saving democracy, Mike Lindell.
Thanks,
I just
Brian.
put
Thanks
that title.
Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, thank you for coming by. And of course, you know, you always know when Mike Lindell is in the house because the media is like a big mob. They just follow you around.
Oh, they're chasing me around today because of yesterday's news.
Okay, you've got a lot to unpack here in the next couple minutes. Let's talk about. We'll talk about securing our elections, which Mike Lindell has made it a priority in his entire life to do. But first, you made news yesterday that the media could not get away from you. Let's talk about that.
Right. Well, a judge, another, I won't even badmouth the judge because I just don't care anymore. A judge ruled in Minnesota. Remember, we had the cyber symposium in the summer of 21. Actually, it was one of the company did. It was Lindo Management LLC. They had this event. And which actually started everything, kind of planted all the seeds.
Sure.
Well, we had this event, and there was a challenge there, and that the data was not, you had to prove it wasn't from the 2020 election. Well, all the cyber guys, even the Facebook fact checkers said, well, yeah, it's from the 2020 election, and it was a great event and everything. Well, this guy named Zeidman they brought in, and to make a long story short, they actually bring him in with his lawyer, and his lawyer actually worked for the company that I have now that had all the data. Okay. So he already knew it was legit. It's really complicated. So anyway, they go to arbitration, or they go to the mediation, they lose, then they go to another mediation, and those three judges said, oh yeah, it's you win your $5 million. So then I take it to court last year. And it goes, so just yesterday a judge ruled, yep, you got to give them $5 million, the company. So it's all over the news. Mike Lindell and us, another $5 million, put it on the $8 billion lawsuits against him, right? And so of course they're asking me, well, what are you going to do now? What are you going to do now? Well, number one, it's not against me personally, and number two, it's a big distraction for what I'm doing right now. That's why they waited till now. I have a plan to secure our elections, and that's why I've been attacked relentlessly since August. My pillow's been under the biggest attack in history right now, not January 21, right now. Why? Because in August I announced a plan to secure our elections and go to paper ballot, and somebody out there doesn't like that, Brian.
I wonder who it is. Of course, Mike Lindell, from day one, I often tell this story that right after the election, I got a phone call from you that says, Brian, we got to talk. I do not like what I'm hearing. I don't like what I see in terms of what happened in the 2020 election. If there was not a Mike Lindell, I'm not sure we would know of all the discrepancies that happen around this country.
Well, God, here's two dates, Brian. Nobody really gives any meaning to, and they're two of the most important dates ever. That's January 7th and 8th of 2021.
Okay.
And those 2 days, 1.2 million Americans got deplatformed. Vimeo, YouTube, they deplatformed. Churches got, anybody that spoke out about the election or our great real president Donald Trump got deplatformed. That's the day they tried to take away our voice forever. Mm-hmm. They wanted to take away our voice. It got down to like a little tiny dot. Well, on January 9th when I got all my evidence. Now here you're giving this to a guy that God blessed me with a big platform and a loud mouth, right? and that day, I went out and tried to tell the world, but I couldn't get it out there. The media wouldn't put it out there until, if you remember, at the White House, I was trying to get it to our great real president so he could sign off on the government gag order that was on it. Well, I had papers from some lawyers, and they took the famous picture outside the White House, martial law. Mike Lindell, there's the pillow guy outside the White House with martial law paper. Well, then it started, the biggest attacks in history, because they knew now it was too late to close the gate. The word was out, and I had something, and I didn't change, Brian. The country changed. I was the same. I was the media's darling. How many people you hired for my employee-owned company, and all of a sudden the media's hating me.
Public enemy number one.
Public enemy number one of the media, not the people. The media and the box stores, they all went away. Their number one product has been attacked. But during that time, 3 months of attack, and people, I tell the media all the time here, I said, well, Mike's a conspiracy theorist. He wants to overturn the 2020 election. By the spring of 21, Brian, I went on Jimmy Kimmel. That was the first time on Jimmy Kimmel. And he asked me, by then I knew it was all this stuff was done with computers and stuff. every county had all these people that didn't live there that had voted. And I go, people are good people. They didn't march into Minnesota and say, let's go vote for Biden, you know. I mean, that's not, it was done with computers. So I had all this evidence. And it wasn't about who win or loss. It's about preserving our election. I'm okay who wins as long as they're elected and not selected by the people. That's why you have election. So I get on Jimmy Kimmel. He says, Mike, would you still be sounding the alarm if your friend Donald Trump had been selected like you say? I said, absolutely I would. Anyone that knows me, I would. Right now, you know, the 2020 is gone back there, and, you know, we're talking about 2024. Why are they attacking me more now than they even did back in January of 21? You know, there's more of us and everything now, and there's voices everywhere. Well, the reason is because of the plan I announced in August to get rid of the machines, to go to paper ballots, hand counted. And Brian, it's working. We have over 250 counties now committed to paper ballots, hand counted for the 2020 election. It's beautiful.
And that's great because when you look at, there's swing states, and then there's counties in those swing states. So when you really narrow it down, there might be a dozen counties in total that could really shift an election.
But here's the problem, everybody. We 3 years ago, this has been going on for 3 years. My team's in after the summer of 21. We had, right now I have over 300,000 people in all 50 states. When we approach these these judges with lawsuits, and we approach counties and states to get rid of the machines. I met with attorney generals, secretary of states. I went around this country for 2 years. My teams did. Guess what the biggest pushback was? The uniparty Republicans. I was crazy. I go into Alabama. I got John Merrill, the Secretary of State, in 21. I go, John, look at your voter rolls. You had 4,680 people that voted that are over 110 years old. He goes, Mike, we live pretty good here in Alabama. I go, John, that's not funny. Yeah. Or Cleburne County, Arkansas, Brian. We get there, and they go to paper ballots. They voted in paper ballots. Everyone in Arkansas, all the counties were going to go to paper. A guy named Kim Hammers, a Republican, pushes a bill through and says, if you go to paper, we're going to defund you at the county level. Does that make sense in our own party?
It doesn't.
So now we're going around that, everybody, with the plan, and you can check it out, lindellplan.com. You go there. We're going around them, and we're like in South Dakota today, as we speak, Brian.
Right now
at 11 o'clock Central Time in South Dakota, in Pierce, South Dakota, the capital. I hope the governor's watching there. I hope you go down there and make an appearance. All the counties in South Dakota, they have a law in their book that all they need is 5% of their counties registered voters to get a petition, and then it goes on a ballot to get rid of them within 60 days. We already have 12 counties of the 66. Brian, I believe we're going to get all 66. And South Dakota will be the first complete paper state. Now, here's why it's important. You have this going on in New Hampshire, California, Missouri. Now, why are those important? Because finally we'll have a breakthrough and a proof of concept. Then we can go to Arizona, Michigan, up in Pennsylvania, where they have more votes than voters. You know that, Brian, right?
Right. And
so it's amazing.
They have voting season, not voting election day.
Voting season. So we're very confident. I've never been so confident, everybody. And when you see me getting attacked like yesterday, and my company getting attacked, they want to do that for a distraction. And I'm telling you, I am laser focused. We are going to secure these elections, and we are going to save this country, and that's it.
Mike Lindell joining us outside of CPAC. That is probably the number one question we get is, how do we secure our election? We know we have the votes right there.
Right there. LindellPlan.com, everybody. LindellPlan.com. We put it all there. It's laid out. It's laid out beautifully. And remember, the RNC, as much as people can't stand them right now, what they're doing and all this stuff that they got Ron out.
Yeah, it's changing a little bit.
It's changing. But the RNC, when I ran for RNC chair last year, one of the things that manifested out of that with this was the RNC, they passed a resolution in August, and it says 168-0, by the way, 168-0. Paper ballots, hand counted, same day voting, precinct level, and signature required. So they need to follow their own thing. When we go back into these states, there better not be any chairmans or going, hey, we really like our machines. Well, wait a minute, you voted 168-0 to get rid of it.
Right.
And Brian, we have some great offense now, because we have examples. Argentina went to paper ballots this fall. One judge ruled it, and they had a free and fair election.
And they had obviously the most popular president they've elected in a long time.
Because he was elected and not selected.
Yeah.
You had Taiwan do a complete election with save their country. You had Ecuador that they just did that change of paper ballots, hand counting, all over the country. And when we go to these clerks now and these election clerks and we come to them, there's no reason they can say no because, oh, it's going to cost more. No, it's less. Yep. And we already approved the concept. We've used our system in the U.S., in Missouri last fall or last spring. Democrats, Republicans counting together, done in the same time as his machines with 100% accuracy.
Okay, we got to wrap it up here. Toss back inside as we're live at CPAC. We'll come back out here because we've got some specials on mypillow.com on the website. So anyway, toss back inside as we're live here at CPAC.